Have you ever started your day, glanced into the mirror, and been confronted by those telltale, stubborn, and utterly unwelcome puffy eyes? That frustrating swelling residing persistently beneath your gaze, often casually referred to as eye bags, or with more scientific precision, periorbital edema, has the uncanny ability to instantly make you feel perpetually tired, prematurely aged, and generally far from your vibrant best. This aesthetic and often uncomfortable complaint is remarkably common. Yet for far too long, countless individuals, much like yourself, have been left in a frustrating limbo, endlessly searching for genuinely effective and lasting answers that extend far beyond mere temporary fixes. The widely accepted conventional wisdom, whether you diligently consult authoritative mainstream medical sources or simply conduct a rapid, cursory search on platforms like Wikipedia, tends to present a bewildering, almost overwhelming array of potential underlying causes. These proposed culprits span an extensive spectrum encompassing everything from subtle thyroid imbalances and chronic insomnia to insidious infections and bothersome seasonal allergies that plague many. While it is certainly true that these conditions might, in very rare and specific instances, contribute as significant factors, they regrettably and far too frequently lead individuals down a convoluted path of prescribed medications such as potent steroids or antihistamines. These treatments, while sometimes necessary, are primarily designed to merely alleviate the immediate symptoms, fundamentally failing to holistically address and rectify the true underlying issue that perpetuates the puffiness. It is absolutely crucial to clarify that my profound intention here is unequivocally not to advise you to discontinue any prescribed medications that your trusted physician has deemed necessary for your health and well-being. Rather, my sincere aspiration is to present a refreshingly distinct, alternative viewpoint that possesses the potential to finally unlock the profound secret to achieving lasting relief, a perspective that, astonishingly, is often entirely overlooked or dismissed within the vast expanse of mainstream medical discourse. My own comprehensive understanding of the persistent challenge of puffy eyes stems from a deeply personal and intimately lived experience. For a significant portion of my life, I myself grappled with the relentless, disheartening reality of persistent eye puffiness. It manifested as an arduous daily battle, and despite my most diligent and exhaustive efforts, I simply could not manage to pinpoint the precise root cause. However, through persistent investigation and a stroke of fortunate insight, I eventually uncovered a truly critical piece of information, a remarkably simple yet profoundly impactful physiological mechanism operating subtly within the intricate architecture of the human body. Once this pivotal mechanism was fully comprehended and, more importantly, appropriately addressed, it entirely and irrevocably transformed my personal experience. This singular, powerful insight culminated in the complete and unequivocal disappearance of my persistent puffy eyes, a discovery so utterly impactful and life-altering that I felt an immediate and overwhelming compulsion to share this invaluable knowledge with you, hoping it might offer the same transformative relief. What truly adds an intriguing layer of fascination to this entire journey is the realization that even amidst the seemingly infinite vastness of readily available information, two small, almost imperceptibly minor details, subtly embedded deep within a common and widely accessed resource like a Wikipedia entry, discreetly hint at the profound truth I eventually uncovered. It's almost as if the conventional world of information is poised tantalizingly on the very cusp of fully realizing and acknowledging what is genuinely transpiring within the body. The solution, it turns out, is not predicated upon complex, elusive diagnoses or an endless cycle of prescriptions. Instead, it revolves around a fundamental and accessible understanding of a specific aspect of your body's intricate chemistry, and crucially, how it reactively responds to something many of us consume on a daily basis, often without even a fleeting second thought. Prepare yourself to embark on a journey of discovery, poised to uncover the incredibly simple, yet astonishingly potent and effective method to finally and permanently bid farewell to those bothersome puffy eyes for good, reclaiming a more refreshed and confident appearance. Now, let's delve deeper and meticulously explore those previously mentioned subtle yet remarkably crucial hints discreetly embedded within the pages of a well-known online encyclopedia, for they truly contain the pivotal clues essential to unraveling the profound mystery of persistent puffy eyes. The information, in its partial illumination, did indeed touch upon the significant role that elevated levels of sodium can play as a contributing factor, a correlation that is, in fact, absolutely accurate and fundamentally correct. Even more remarkably intriguing and insightful, it subtly suggested that the adoption of a low-carbohydrate dietary regimen could potentially serve as a potent preventative measure against the development of ocular puffiness. This explicit correlation, undeniably profound, between one's dietary choices and the delicate health of the eyes is undeniably significant, and, crucially, begins to precisely lead us down the correct and most analytically fruitful path towards a comprehensive understanding of the true underlying root cause of this exceedingly common and often distressing affliction. Of course, it is also highly probable that these very same informational pages might concurrently offer seemingly straightforward, almost simplistic remedies such as the application of cool cucumber slices or the gentle placement of cold compresses directly onto your eyes. While it is certainly plausible that these topical methods might, in the short term, provide a fleeting moment of superficial and temporary relief by constricting localized blood vessels, they fundamentally and regrettably only address the most immediate and visible symptom. They utterly fail to adequately and comprehensively tackle the underlying systemic physiological problem that is the genuine fundamental cause of the persistent swelling. To rely solely on such superficial interventions is akin to futilely applying a small, inadequate bandage to a vigorously gushing burst pipe without ever making a concerted effort to actually locate and meticulously fix the original source of the relentless leak itself. An ultimately ineffective and unsustainable approach. In a considerable number of instances of persistent and bothersome eye puffiness, the intricate and vital kidneys are indeed intricately involved in the process, and as was alluded to earlier, there frequently exists a significant, often problematic, and fundamental issue with the delicate balance of sodium within the body's complex internal environment. However, here lies the precise juncture where we absolutely must delve considerably deeper, moving beyond surface-level observations to explore the profound underlying mechanics that truly govern this phenomenon. Both these critical conditions, the palpable and often chronic strain placed upon the kidneys and the critical disruptive sodium imbalance, are almost invariably profoundly rooted in a single, overarching, and astonishingly often overlooked primary culprit. That pervasive and insidious culprit is the perpetual presence of an excessive amount of sugar, constantly circulating within the delicate confines of your bloodstream, exerting its widespread detrimental effects. Consider, for a crucial moment, the overwhelming and globally recognized primary cause of severe kidney disease on a global scale, the insidious and widespread metabolic condition known as diabetes, and what precisely defines the complex and challenging metabolic condition known as diabetes in its most fundamental essence. It is, fundamentally and unequivocally, characterized by consistently and chronically elevated levels of blood sugar. Therefore, when we clearly and observably note persistent, unexplained puffiness in the delicate and sensitive tissues of the eyelids, while it certainly and directly indicates a possible palpable involvement of the kidneys in the immediate symptom, it becomes absolutely imperative, a matter of critical analytical importance, to meticulously trace that visible symptom back to its more fundamental, originating, and deeply systemic cause. The sheer elegance and profound simplicity of this entire physiological mechanism is truly remarkable once you fully grasp its interconnected workings and underlying logic. When there is a chronic and significant overload of sugar constantly circulating throughout your bloodstream, your body inevitably and reactively produces an excess amount of insulin in a desperate, valiant attempt to adequately manage, process, and ultimately clear it from circulation. Over a sustained period of time, this chronic overproduction of insulin, a relentless metabolic effort, can unfortunately lead to a critically important physiological condition known as insulin resistance. In this state, your body's cells gradually become less responsive and receptive to insulin's vital regulatory signals, meaning the hormone can no longer effectively usher glucose into the cells as efficiently as it should. Both of these scenarios, either the persistent presence of chronically high insulin levels or the gradual onset of insulin resistance, trigger a vital and often problematic response within your body's intricate regulatory systems. They cause it to actively and aggressively retain sodium. Essentially, this means that the more sugar and refined carbohydrates you consume on a regular basis, the more salt your body is compelled to hold on to, creating a delicate yet profoundly impactful imbalance in your electrolyte profile. If this detrimental pattern of high sugar and carbohydrate intake continues unchecked for an extended and damaging period, it places an immense, unsustainable burden on your kidneys. These vital organs are tirelessly tasked with the critical functions of filtering your blood, regulating fluid volume, and balancing these essential substances. This relentless strain can ultimately lead to a significant amount of fluid backing up into your entire system, unable to be properly processed and excreted. One of the most visibly apparent and often earliest signs of this systemic fluid retention frequently manifests as noticeable puffiness in the delicate and highly vascularized tissues around your eyes, sometimes even appearing long before more generalized swelling, known as edema, becomes apparent in other parts of your body, indicating its specific vulnerability. I vividly recall a poignant instance just a few months ago while dining at a local restaurant. I observed a father and his son, both of whom presented with visibly overweight frames, enthusiastically indulging in substantial, heaping portions of carbohydrate-heavy foods laden with sugars and starches. Both individuals, strikingly, presented with markedly puffy eyes, a clear visual indicator of the very mechanism I am describing. While I wisely resisted the impulsive urge to approach them directly and share my insights, my discerning wife sagely advised against it, recognizing it wasn't the appropriate setting. It served as a powerful, real-world confirmation, a striking visual testament to the mechanism I had personally discovered. Many people simply aren't aware, and therefore don't connect the dots, that the source of their persistent, often chronic, puffiness is frequently and directly linked to the sugar and refined carbohydrates they consume daily, often without a second thought to its systemic impact. Therefore, the singular and most crucial core takeaway from this entire explanation is abundantly clear. Sugar, in its various forms, primarily drives pervasive fluid retention throughout the body, fundamentally by forcing your intricate physiological systems to hold on to excessive amounts of sodium. Beyond this primary and profoundly impactful mechanism of sugar-induced sodium retention, there are several other crucial physiological responses, a cascading series of events triggered by chronic high sugar and carbohydrate intake that directly and cumulatively contribute to the persistent and bothersome presence of puffy eyes. One particularly significant and often overlooked factor is the critical depletion of potassium within your body's essential electrolyte stores. When you consistently consume excessive amounts of carbohydrates, you become significantly more susceptible to developing a potassium deficiency. This is because storing excess sugar in the form of glycogen, which is essentially a chain of glucose molecules, heavily relies on the availability and utilization of potassium. Consequently, the more sugar and starches you eat, the more potassium your body actively uses to facilitate this storage process, effectively tucking away this vital mineral within these glycogen reserves and making it considerably less available for countless other essential bodily functions that depend on it. This direct and often overlooked link between elevated carbohydrate consumption and diminished potassium levels plays an absolutely vital role in maintaining the delicate and crucial fluid balance throughout your entire system. Furthermore, a consistently high sugar diet tends to significantly heighten sympathetic dominance within your nervous system. This means that your body's fight or flight response becomes chronically more activated, leading to a pervasive state of chronic stress and heightened physiological alertness. This elevated and sustained stress mechanism in itself contributes significantly and directly to increased fluid retention as the body prepares for perceived threats. Concurrently, high sugar intake can also lead to a noticeable and problematic increase in the circulating levels of a hormone called renin, which plays a critical role in blood pressure regulation. Both sympathetic dominance and chronically elevated renin levels are well documented and scientifically established to actively promote the retention of sodium, further exacerbating the problem. Thus, we observe a multifaceted and intricate scenario unfolding within the body, a complex cascade of interconnected events leading inevitably to increased fluid retention, an excessive amount of sodium being held onto by the body, and a concurrent detrimental depletion of critical potassium stores. It's no wonder then that when you frequently indulge in common junk foods, which are almost universally loaded with refined sugars, processed starches, and often flavor enhancers like MSG, monosodium glutamate, all known sodium contributors, you frequently wake up the very next morning with noticeably and uncomfortably puffy eyes. This immediate and observable effect serves as a powerful, real-time testament to the profound and rapid influence these pervasive dietary components exert on your delicate fluid balance. The truly encouraging and empowering news is that understanding this intricate mechanism points us directly and unequivocally to the most effective solution. To effectively and permanently resolve the issue of persistent puffy eyes, the most critical and impactful step you can take is remarkably simple, yet profoundly powerful. Rigorously eliminate sugar and highly refined carbohydrates from your daily diet. By deliberately cutting out these ubiquitous refined sugars and excessive processed carbohydrates, you effectively disrupt this entire detrimental cycle of insulin spikes, subsequent sodium retention, and the problematic potassium depletion. In addition to implementing these crucial and fundamental dietary changes, you can proactively and actively support your body's natural rebalancing process by either thoughtfully considering a high-quality potassium supplement or, more naturally, and often preferably, by significantly increasing your daily intake of whole, unprocessed foods that are richly abundant in potassium, integrating them into every meal. These simple yet profoundly impactful lifestyle and dietary changes have the potential to make an enormous and truly transformative difference in your daily experience, leading to a much more refreshed and confident appearance. For those seeking detailed, actionable guidance on precisely what specific potassium-rich foods to strategically incorporate into your meals to optimally boost your potassium intake and comprehensively help you completely transform your entire diet for lasting relief, I've meticulously prepared another comprehensive and invaluable video, which you can conveniently find linked right here, offering all the practical insights you need.